Mi nombre es Joaquín y esto es segunda temporada de Meeple Podcast. Welcome to Carcassonne. Hello everyone at the other side of your earphones or speakers. I'm Joaquin from Meeple Podcast, and this is the Carcassonne podcast for all people who loves this game. Today, I have the opportunity to interview one of the better players around the world. Maybe now is the best because we have invited tonight Arpad, who has just became the Carcassonne World Champion 2022 in Essen, Germany, last October 9th. Welcome to Meeple Podcast and congratulations.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
How many times are you playing Carcassonne and when did you jump to board game arena?
I don't know for sure, but I think first time I started playing around 10 years ago, but it was just a casual board game back then for me. Around 2014, one of my former colleagues from the workplace won the Romanian national Carcassonne championship, and from him I found out that there is a Carcassonne competition, and in Essen there is a Carcassonne World Championship. Since I like board games and I'm a very competitive person, this gave me the motivation to start playing a bit more seriously. So I downloaded an app to play it online in my free time. The BGA, so the board game arena. On the board game arena, I started using when COVID started, and the first World Team Carcassonne online championship was organized. Our champion, Marian Curcan, invited me in the Romanian team, and since then I play on Board Game Arena.
I suppose it's also difficult to win a national Carcassonne event, but becoming world champion, to be at the top of the players' ranking is a very big effort.
Well, it's not easy, especially when you have high caliber players like we do. Marian Curcan, for example, the player who won the Carcassonne World Championship in 2019. His brother Bogdan Curcan, also Ervin Gal and Mihnea Ionescu and Ioana Felicia. These players were all at some point in the past years in Essen. So these are very good players, and these are players that were like 95% of the time playing in the Romanian national championship. So it's not easy, but the World Championship is a completely different beast. So every year the best of every country gathers there, and you really have to be on top of your game, and you need to also have some luck if you want to have a chance. So even just to qualify from the group stages to the knockout phase is a big accomplishment, in my opinion, in Essen.
What do you think about players' level? I mean, Elo is not important here. Everyone in Essen final tournament is a good player. Can everybody there become world champion?
Well, Elo is a good indication of how good a player is, but it is not everything. So player style and the current state of mind of the player also plays a role in the performance of a player. For example, a good player can be influenced by a single mistake and play poorly afterwards. I know this because it happened to me in 2015 when I first was playing in SN, and yeah, I know it from personal experience. So most of the players who qualify to SN are very good players, but even among those players, there are a few that play at another level, in my opinion. So in general, I would say that these players have a better chance to win the competition, but luck can always have a word about this.
Talk to us your experience at the final table.
Okay, so um, it was a close match, and the Taiwanese player is a very strong player. But I knew from the start that if I play good, I can beat this guy. So I have a pretty good track record versus him on the board game arena platform. He was the starting player, which I was not happy about because, as you know, the starting player has a small advantage. He plays one more card than his opponent, but I couldn't do anything about it, so I just started the game. We both had a decent start. I drew two monasteries at the beginning, which is great because I like monasteries. Instead he managed to score a few quick points um, with some 4 point cities and 4 point roads. I also managed to score some points, some quick points, and the score on the board was very close in the beginning. He started building a big city, and I dropped a field meeple on the main field early on, which I thought will be important later on. So at that time, it had a single completed city on it, but I saw opportunity for it to grow big. So that's why I put a meeple on that field. Yeah, so we both scored a few quick points here and there with some small cities and roads. And by mid game, I think I had a slight lead. And the main field started growing. So the field which I occupied first started growing, and it already grew to have 3 4 cities on it by mid game. So he also dropped a meeple on a smaller field, which had the opportunity to join to the big field. When his big city started to get close to getting finished, I attacked it. I couldn't let it finish, so I attacked it and I managed to block it from finishing. He went for another field meeple, and I immediately attacked it, uh, countered it with my own field meeple. So by the last couple tiles, 8 10 tiles, I had a small lead, and he um, and the two fields have joined. So there was a relatively large field with, I guess, 4 or 5 cities on it, and we both had two meeples on this field. With a few lucky tiles, I managed to score some additional points. There was an open city which I managed to grab. So I guess it was lucky for me, because if he drew the same tile a bit earlier, he could have scored that 6 points instead, and the 12 point difference would have made the difference to who wins the game. But this is what happened, and I managed to grow my lead. Uh, and the basically the only opportunity he had left to win the game is to take the big field. But the only point of attack for the big field was in a way that I could block it if the right tile comes. So he tried to prepare an attack for the big field, but I knew that he is doing that, and I blocked it immediately. So in the last couple times, he hadn't had any chance to win the game already. So I knew it, and I saw on his face the expression gave it away that okay, he gave it up because he knew that whatever he drew in the last 2 3 times, it doesn't matter, because he knew I won the game. So that's basically what happened. In the end, we both took a 6 point field, and that was it. That was the game.
Oscar Agudo, our Spanish champion, only won one match in the end. It was the first game he played against you. That was the first and the only one you lost. 30 points the score difference. What happened after that duel to both of you?
Uh, yes, the first match was a disaster for me. So I generally play very fast. I don't think I use more than 10, 12 minutes in any of the games I played from the 15 minutes a player had. But in this first match, maybe because of the adrenaline or I don't know, I was playing a bit too fast and I made a few mistakes in the beginning. So after placing like 4 or 5 tiles, I realized that I have to calm down a bit uh, and start to play better because the game was not heading in the direction I wanted. So uh, it turns out I should have calmed down earlier, but because the mistakes I made in the beginning meant that my opponent managed to block like 3 or 4 of my meeples in the beginning, and going further, luck was more on his side. So I didn't got any of the 3 finisher tiles I needed to for one of my small 8 point cities to close, and I didn't got any of the 4 or 5 tiles I needed to block him from taking over a medium to large city in the end. So he had a 50-50 uh, chance to steal that city, and in the end he drew the tile, so he scored there like 24 points uh, or something like that. So that was it, and he won the match with like 30 points difference. So it was a clear win for him, and he played well. So yeah, I after the match I was disappointed, and I didn't thought that I have any chance of winning the competition. But I knew that if uh, I knew what I had to do to have any chance at all. So I had to calm down and avoid doing stupid mistakes like what I did versus the Spanish player. Because of the loss, I got a few weaker opponents. I mean, weaker in parentheses because at this level everyone is strong. But I'm I avoided the stronger players who won their first matches. So I avoided playing the Japanese, the Mexican, the Czech players, and yeah, I had an easier run in the next few games, and I managed to calm down, and I played better and better after each series. Uh, After each series I played. On the other hand, the Spanish player lost all of the remaining matches, but he played some real strong players also, so it's not a shame to lose matches in Essen.
Mhm. Who's the better online player on BGA by your point of view?
Do you mean the Spanish or me, or in general?
In general.
In general, I think okay. So about if I had the opportunity to play versus your Spanish national champion 9 more times, maybe I think I could win like 6 from those matches, but you never know. Sometimes you play at a similar level. Uh, Sometimes if you play versus an opponent with a similar level, luck can be a deciding factor. So there are games which you cannot win whatever you do. At least that's how it feels like when when you play it. But it's not a coincidence that, for example, the Czech player played like 3 or 4 times the final table in Essen. So uh, in general, the Japanese players are very good, very strong. So as you know, they won every Carcassonne team championship, and this year they won with a completely different set of players. So that's something because that speaks for itself, that result. And there are some very strong Russian and German players, but in Europe there are a lot of very strong players. If you play on the board game arena and you play the arena, you will meet a lot of very strong players. So there are few very strong players who also you can meet in Essen. For example, the Mexican player is very good. He won all 5 of his matches in the group stages in Essen. Um, the Polish players also are very good. So yeah, I and as I mentioned, we have a few very good players. The Romanian champion Marian Kurkan is very strong. His brother Bogdan Kurkan, and yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, what do you think about Takafumi, Japan's champion, who left the opportunity to play on Essen for let pass a new young talent to place him at the final?
Yeah, he's Pinderstrom from the board game arena, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a great player. I played versus him a couple of times, and I think it's a. I have a score of four games won, four games lost versus him, so it's pretty even between us. But he's a great player, and I think it's a very nice gesture to let the younger players participate in the World Championship. So Japan has a lot of very strong players, as I mentioned earlier. I think the top 10 Japanese players all would have a good chance of winning the World Championship or at least qualify from the group stage. So yeah, I think the Japanese player played very well, and he had every chance to. I mean, he was a good, a strong contestant for the final win of the championship.
What do you think about Spielezentrum organization?
It was nice that we played in a separate hall, separate room, and not where the game expo was, because we didn't have the big noise around us, and it was easier to concentrate like this. And in the beginning, I had a hard time finding the place where the competition was held, but in the end, I figured it out, and I think there was some last minute changes, which made it harder to find the room, but. In the end, we everyone managed to find the Deutschland conference room where the championship was organized.
What was for you the best thing these days on Essen? Meeting people from BGA or winning the tournament?
Well, it was nice to meet a bunch of people who shared their passion for the game, but winning the whole championship was certainly the uh, cherry on the top of the cake. So it made very special this tournament for me. Yeah, because it's not easy, and uh, it's even to qualify to us, and it's hard, but to win there, it's a rare opportunity. So I'm very glad I managed to do that.
Many people think Essen Festival, Spiel Festival, is one of the biggest game encounter around the world. Is it true?
Well, I think so, but I don't have anything to compare it to. I haven't been anywhere else on a big board game expo, and also I was there only on Sunday, so I didn't had time to look around in the main halls. We just had like 10 minutes to look around into three of the halls from the total of eight after the competition finished. So yeah, it's huge, so it's I think that from one entrance one end of the complex to the other end, it's like half a kilometer, so it's a huge building complex, so as a territory. And also there's a very very a lot of people and board game enthusiasts who come there. And when you enter the metro in Essen, in even if you go in the middle of the day or in the end of the day, you see a bunch of young people with bags full of board games. So yeah, it's very nice.
Your family was there with you at the event. After you won, you all get close together to kiss and hug each other. Beautiful moment for everyone who was watching Melvin's streaming.
Yes, although not the whole family, because we have four kids, three boys and a little girl.
Wow.
My wife, my wife and baby girl came with me to Essen, and their support certainly helped me perform well in the competition.
Gere or Gere? What's the pronunciation?
Gere.
Gere.
So Gere is I live in Romania, but as a nationality, I'm Hungarian. And Gere Arpad is so this is how it's pronounced in Hungarian. Gere Arpad.
Gary Arpad. What's the correct pronunciation of your nickname on BGA, and what's the meaning of g3rappa?
Okay, so uh, The correct pronunciation should would be Gerappa, and it doesn't have any meaning. I mean, in the sense that it's not like a word per se, but when I was in high school and were presenting ourselves, I was talking a bit fast, and I said, "My name is Gerarpad," and one of my colleagues, classmates, didn't understand that. I asked, "What, Gerappa?" So that's where this Gerappa comes from. It stick to me, and I started using it as nickname in online platforms and online games. But on some platforms, the Gerappa with the E as the second character was already taken. So at some point, I started using the three instead of the E. And that's how I ended up with this Gerappa with the three instead of the E as the second character.
Very interesting. Have you received many messages on Board Game Arena from last Sunday to now?
Yes, a lot of players and a lot of very strong players congratulated me, which I appreciate a lot. So uh, I know for sure that some Russian players who already won the Carcassonne World Championship at some point in the past, and also the last year's champion and the Polish player also congratulated me. So of course the Romanian team, everyone from the Romanian team congratulated. So a lot of players, and yeah, uh, it's very nice. I mean, it's nice that we have a kind and caring community like this. So I'm glad about it.
Next year, you would come back to defend the first position, the pole position.
Yeah, well, that's the plan at least. I mean, I hope that nothing will interfere, and I will be able to go again and play again in SM.
But this edition, the tournament has been incomplete. Last world champion had rest at home. He said the trip was expensive for him. Neither Hamsing Look or Polish publisher paid the travel to him. Do you know?
Yes, I know him from Board Game Arena, and yeah, as I mentioned earlier, he also congratulated me, and we had a little talk, and I asked him about it, and he said that he said the same basically to me, that it was very expensive for him, and he couldn't afford. So I can understand it. It is not cheap with the airplane flights and the hotel or Airbnb accommodation, as well as and all the money you need to travel around in the region and also eat. It's not cheap. So I also had to cover my expenses. So I fully covered my expenses. Uh, but I work in IT and I have a very good salary, so this was not a problem for me.
I think Hansing Luke represents officially his new game world champion. I understand Hansing Luke must to pay every year the champion bill at the following edition.
Um, I don't know anything about it, so I don't know what to say to that.
Well, okay. Gere Arpad, thank you for accepting the inviting to Meatball Podcast and congratulations one more time.
Thank you, and the pleasure was mine.
To the audience, see you on the next episode.